How to render HTML and convert to PDF in A.NET Core Web API using Razor and PuppeteerSharp. Project source code in GitHub. Introduction. Generating PDF documents from HTML content is a common requirement in web applications, especially for reports, certificates, and documents. In this tutorial, I'll show you two approaches to implement this feature in A.NET Core Web API. We will explore both a traditional web API approach and a more scalable clean architecture pattern using Mediator. This guide will walk you through rendering Razor views as HTML and converting that HTML to PDF using PuppeteerSharp, complete with sample code. By the end, you'll know how to render dynamic content using Razor views, convert the rendered HTML into a PDF using PuppeteerSharp, implement these features in both traditional and clean architecture approaches. You can follow along and download the full source code for this project from the GitHub repository. Why I chose PuppeteerSharp for PDF generation. I needed a reliable way to render HTML content and convert it into a PDF document. After evaluating different options, I chose PuppeteerSharp because of the following reasons. Headless rendering. PuppeteerSharp runs in a headless mode, which means it doesn't require a visible browser to generate content. This is crucial for server-side PDF generation, where there is no need or capability to display the content in a browser window. Headless rendering allows PuppeteerSharp to render HTML exactly as it would appear in a browser without the overhead of a full browser UI. Full HTML and CSS support, including Bootstrap. By using PuppeteerSharp, I can render the HTML content as if it's being viewed in a modern browser, which means I can leverage Bootstrap for styling and layout. This ensures that my documents not only look professional but are also responsive and well-formatted. Bootstrap helps to structure and style the content seamlessly without manually writing complex CSS for every element. Image support. PuppeteerSharp also handles images effectively, which is important for projects where logos or other images need to be included in the PDF. Since PuppeteerSharp behaves like a browser, it can load and render images, e.g., a company logo, as part of the PDF generation process. In summary, PuppeteerSharp was the good fit for generating my PDFs because it allows me to render HTML content using Razor and Bootstrap to ensure proper document formatting, support images and other multimedia elements in the output, perform all of this in a headless environment, making it ideal for automated server-side PDF generation. Table of contents, prerequisites, setting up the project, rendering Razor view to HTML, converting HTML to PDF with PuppeteerSharp, traditional web API approach, certificate controller, clean architecture approach, department controller with Mediator. Final thoughts. Download sample project. Part 1, prerequisites. Make sure you have the following: .NET Core SDK installed, Visual Studio 2022 or any other ID, PuppeteerSharp familiarization. Part 2, setting up the project. For this tutorial, the template on Yanapi is used to scaffold a new web API project. Then, the following packages are installed. PuppeteerSharp is a .NET port of the popular Node.js library Puppeteer, which provides a high-level API to control headless or full versions of Chromium or Chrome through the DevTools protocol. Microsoft.ASP.NET Core MVC.Razor.Runtime compilation is a NuGet package in ASP.NET Core that enables Razor view files such as CC/HTML to be dynamically recompiled during runtime. Commands: .NET add package PuppeteerSharp.NET add package Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC.Razor.Runtime compilation. Next, we will implement services that handle rendering Razor views and converting them into PDFs. Part 3, rendering Razor view to HTML. To render HTML from a Razor view, we need a service that handles this functionality. Here's how to set it up. A Razor view to string renderer interface. The Razor view to string renderer interface defines a contract for rendering Razor views to HTML strings. Method: render view to string asynchronous thant model greater than takes a view name and a model as parameters, rendering the specified Razor view as a string based on the provided model. Purpose: this interface is used to convert Razor views into HTML content, which can be further processed, such as being converted to a PDF. Namespace: .NET Core Web APPRint PDF.application.interfaces public interface, a Razor view to string renderer, Taskless than string greater than render view to string asyncless thant model greater than string view name to model. Razor view to string renderer. Implementation. The Razor view to string renderer class implements the Razor view to string renderer interface. It is responsible for rendering Razor views as HTML strings. Dependencies. It uses the iRazor view engine to find views, iDemp data provider for managing temporary data, and iService provider to resolve dependencies. Main method, render view to string asyncless thant model greater than renders a Razor view name with the provided model to model into an HTML string. It creates a new action context, finds the view, and renders it to a string writer, returning the rendered HTML as a string. Purpose. This service is useful for rendering Razor views to HTML outside of the MVC context, typically for scenarios like generating PDFs or sending HTML emails. Using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC.Rendering, using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC.ViewFeatures, using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC.RayText GetAction context. var HTTP context equal to new default p context request services equal to service provider, return new action context TTP context, new raw data new action descriptor. Part 4. Converting HTML to PDF with PuppeteerSharp. After rendering HTML content, we need to convert it to a PDF. Let's implement the iHTML to PDF service. iHTML to PDF service interface. The iHTML to PDF service interface defines a contract for converting HTML content into a PDF. Method, PuppeteerString HTML content, takes HTML content as input and returns a byte, which represents the PDF file. Purpose, this interface is used to handle the conversion of HTML strings into PDF format, typically for scenarios like generating downloadable PDFs from rendered Razor views. HTML to PDF service. Implementation. The HTML to PDF service class implements the iHTML to PDF service interface and is responsible for converting HTML content into a PDF using PuppeteerSharp. Dependencies. It initializes a headless Chromium browser using PuppeteerSharp and defines default PDF options like paper size of 4, orientation landscape, and margins. Method, PuppeteerString HTML content, loads the HTML content in a browser page and converts it to a PDF byte array using the specified options. Purpose, this service automates the conversion of HTML to PDF, commonly used for generating downloadable PDFs from dynamically generated content in web applications. Using PuppeteerSharp, using PuppeteerSharp.media, namespace netcore web appaprint pdf.infrastructure, .share.services public. Class HTML to PDF service, iHTML to await page.closeasync. Return data. Part 5. Traditional Web API Approach, Certificate Controller. In this traditional approach, we'll create a simple certificate controller that takes a model, renders it into a Razor view, and returns a PDF. Certificate Controller. The certificate controller handles generating PDF certificates. Dependencies. It uses two services. iHTML to PDF service to convert HTML into a PDF, and iRazor view to string renderer to render Razor views as HTML strings. Print PDF method accepts a certificate model via a post request, renders the Razor view certificate template.chtml into an HTML string, converts it to a PDF, and returns the PDF as a downloadable file named after the student's name. Purpose, this API endpoint generates a customized certificate as a PDF based on the provided data. Namespace netcore web appaprint pdf.webapi.controllers.v1. APA version. Public class certificate controller. Base API controller private read-only PDF service to byte HTML content. Return. File PDF content. Application PDF. Model.studentNameCertificate.pdf. Razor template for certificate. This Razor view generates an HTML template for a pickleball certificate of completion using Bootstrap 5 for styling. Injected service. The iHTTP context accessor is injected to get the base URL for loading assets like the logo dynamically. Model. The certificate model provides dynamic data such as the student's name, evaluation date, coach's name, and skill grades. Structure. The certificate includes a logo, title, subtitle, student name, date of completion, coach's name, and a list of evaluated skills with corresponding grades. Styling, custom CSS styles define the layout, including borders, text alignment, and presentation of skills and signatures, giving the certificate a professional look. Purpose: this view can be rendered into HTML and converted to a PDF for certificate generation in applications. Inject Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.HTTP context accessor. HTTP context accessor model, net core web apprint PDF domain.entities.certificate, var. Base URL equal to http context accessor.http context.request. Scheme http context accessor.http context.request. Host alt type HTML greater than less than HTML language equal to and greater than less than Dave classical to signature greater than signature less than strong greater than model dot coke name less than strong greater than less than p greater than less than div greater than less than div greater than less than div greater than less than script sarsequel to cdn.js deliver done. Part 6. Clean architecture approach. Department controller with mediator. Now, let's see how to adopt a clean architecture pattern using mediator to decouple the business logic from the controller. Get department sprint request. This request handler, getDepartmentSprint.cs, defines the functionality for generating a PDF of departments using ASP.NET. Core's mediator for handling requests. GetDepartmentSprint, a query class that extends from list parameter and implements iRequestList byteit, used to request a list of departments and convert it to a PDF. GetLDepartmentSprint handler handles the getDepartmentSprint request, retrieves department data from the repository, renders it to HTML using a Razor view, and converts the HTML to a PDF byte array. Namespace netcore web apprint pdf.application.features.departments.queries. GetDepartments less than summary greater than handles media iRequest. Base request parameter contains paging parameters to add filter search parameters. PDF service to byte array. ML content return. PDF content department controller. The departments controller provides an API endpoint to export a list of departments as a PDF file. Versioning: the controller is versioned as one using the APA version. Attribute: export method handles a GET request to the print route. It accepts a getDepartmentSprint query filter and uses mediator to process the request. PDF generation: the result of the request is a PDF file, which is returned to the client as a downloadable file named departmentlist.pdf. Purpose: this endpoint facilitates exporting department data in a PDF format based on query filters. Namespace: netcore web apprint PDF, webapi.controllers.v1 APA version. Public class departments controller. Send filter, return. File result, application PDF, department list.pdf. Razor template for department list. This Razor view department.chtml generates an HTML page to display a list of departments using Bootstrap 5 for styling. Model: the view is strongly typed to an IEnumerableList Thanget departments view model greater than, which provides department data such as ID and name. Structure: the page includes a table with headers for department ID and department name, and each department is displayed in a new row using a loop for each. Styling: the table is styled using Bootstrap classes to ensure a clean and responsive layout. Purpose: this view renders a list of departments in a structured format, suitable for display on a web page or as a template for PDF generation. Model: IEnumerableList the netcore web apprint pdf.application.features.departments.queries.getDepartments. Departments view model greater than less than doctype. HTML greater than less than HTML language equal to and greater than less than head greater than less than meta. Charset equal to UTF. 8 greater than less than meta num equal to viewport content equal to width equal to cdn.js deliver. Part 7. Final thoughts. In this tutorial, we've demonstrated two approaches for generating PDFs from Razor views in .NET. Core Web API, traditional Web API approach, implemented in the certificate controller for simple use cases. Clean architecture with mediator, implemented in the department controller for more scalable and maintainable applications. Both approaches use the same Razor to HTML and HTML to PDF conversion services, but the clean architecture approach helps in separating concerns, promoting better testability and maintainability. By following this guide, you should now be able to generate PDFs in your web API projects, whether you prefer a traditional approach or a clean architecture pattern. Happy coding! Part 8. Download Sample Project. If you would like to explore the complete implementation of this tutorial, you can download or clone the sample project from my GitHub repository. GitHub repository, Netcore Web Apprint PDF. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to leave a comment below.